What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and today we're back with another live stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with. And this week, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at the Rational Emacs configuration again, because I've been remiss and not really taking a look at PRs there lately. And we're going to make up for that by actually, taking a look at PRs and probably merging a few, and we're going to try them out also. So we'll see how all that goes. Before we get too much into it, I'd like to say hello to some folks who are here. I missed someone. I think Piotr was the first person there. I can't see right now. Emmanuel, Mjolnir's Revenge, Jeff, let's see, Alejandro, someone whose name is not visible, Aaron, Robert, Minas Mazar, Ning Duan, John Eastman, Daigo, Mohammed, Daniel. Thanks all for being here today. I appreciate it. All right. So, updates. Hi, Andrew. So the next video is coming. I know I said in the community post on the YouTube channel that it would be this week. I got super busy with various different things and did not get the video done, but I already have started writing it. It's just a matter of getting it recorded and everything. So probably get it recorded this weekend, put it up on Monday, best case scenario. The state of things is I have been dealing with issues relating to immigrating to Greece. I finally got my car this week, but I had to deal with a lot of paperwork and crap related to that. And I've also been a little bit absorbed, I guess you could say, by working on the mesh language that I've been creating on the Flux Harmonic channel, and so the other projects we have going on there. So a lot of things taking up my time, but I'm trying to shift focus a little bit back to System Crafters and also to Rational Emacs so we can get some things going there as well. Hello to Yusuf, Abdalak, Tenzin, and Jackson. Nice to see you. So relating to Rational Emacs also, Jeff Bowman wrote a nice blog post about Rational Emacs. If you haven't seen that already, I don't know if it got posted anywhere else, but I happened across it. Not sure how I saw this, but I did see it. But if you want to read about Jeff's thoughts about the project, you should definitely go check that out. Daniel says, any luck on a house? I've been talking to the seller of a particular house, or we've been talking to the seller of a particular house since the beginning of January, and there's been all kinds of weird caveats and issues getting the house inspected. So yeah, we're almost there, but it's just taken forever. So I'm happy to finally get close to a conclusion on that, but it's still not happening yet. Let's say probably, beginning of April, if I'm lucky, I could have an actual place to live. Hello to Ed S. Horatio, and it's Allo-Macellonable. Sorry, can't really read that one very well. Okay. So also, I want to mention that I did ask Jeff Bowman and John Eastman, who I think both have just replied to the email that I sent, to join the maintainers group of Rational Emacs, mainly because, it's a project where there's a lot of people contributing, and I don't have, full focus to be able to merge everything, and both Jeff and John have done a really good job of reviewing PRs and also sending their own PRs to fix things or add features. So whenever there's people who are very helpful and also understand the goals of the project very well, you definitely want to sort of get those people more involved. So I'm happy to bring Jeff and John on board. So thank you very much, both of you, for accepting to join. I'll get you hooked up on that after the stream is over, but I sort of just sent the emails like a couple hours before the stream because that's when I had time to do it. Jackson says, is it real estate crazy over there like it is in the US? It actually has become kind of frenzied when it comes to buying homes in Greece, which is unlike what it's been in the last, I would say, probably 10 years here, because there was like the sort of economic crisis especially around like, 2013, 2014. I think things got really bad and houses were really cheap. But now they're not really cheap anymore, and there's a lot of people trying to buy them. So it's difficult to find a good place to live. Gun says, Yasasfili. Yasugan. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. We've got a little spammer here also. Great. Trying to remove some messages. GRTCDR says, hi, I've been binging your videos. Thank you for the enormous work you put into each one of them. They're top notch. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so today we're going to be trying out Rational Emacs PRs. There's a whole bunch there that probably are worth looking at. And like I mentioned before, I've done a terrible job keeping up with the PRs lately. So this is my way to try to make up for that and actually to see some cool stuff on the stream and see what we can pull into the project. Because I know that there are certain people who've been using it as their default configuration, which is cool. So maybe we can pull in some things today that will make it even more useful for you. So once we're finished taking a look at those and merging some things in, we might try hacking on some other things if we have time, or just chatting about whatever comes up in the chat. I've kind of been out of the loop on Emacs news over the past 2 or 3 weeks. So if there's things that have been happening that I don't know about, definitely feel free to let me know in the chat. We can chat about them at some point later. So let's go take a look at the repository. As we can see, we have a very healthy 19 pull requests here. So let's just take a look at what's in there. Also, maybe we'll sort by the oldest and see what stuff we might have missed. So this was one that I do remember looking at before, org and files management modules. I wonder where we left off on this one. Let's see. Default org package. Yeah, okay. We may not be able to make progress on this one. There's still some discussion. Let me see what's going on in the files here. I think it's just a new file. So there's some constants being defined and just some basic org setup here, which is not a bad thing to have. I don't think we have any of that so far. I don't think I've merged anything in for org up until this point. Let's see. Amal Vadia says, one of the things I'm excited about for this stream is seeing how the GitHub workflow is. I've never used it collaboratively before. Yeah, it's kind of nice, actually. I mean, it gets the job done. Yeah, Shraj, it's good to see you. And now that you show up, I see your name on my screen, but let me not dox you there. So, yeah, no org files. I should be doing this in Forge. Let's see. Can I do this in Forge and take a look at these there? I'll pull up Rational Emacs. Well, I'm in the folder. How about let's do it this way. I don't want to screw things up. Okay, so we'll go to Projects Code, Rational Emacs. Forge, do I have Forge turned on? Forge, pull. Forge, add default bindings. What is going on here? Magit. Let's see. Where is Forge in this list? I've forgotten. Yeah, I don't see it. Forge. Pull topic. List issues. I think this is not going to work for me. I don't know why. Oh, Forge add repository. Thank you for telling me that. Forge add repository. This one. Okay. All topics. So it's going to sync this down, and we're going to see what it looks like inside of the editor. Hello to Marco Osmane. Let's see. The @ sign. Yeah, you're right. I think it's @ sign. That's right. Thank you, Karma, for subscribing to the channel on Twitch. All right, so let's see. Did it finish? Okay. All right, so let me pull up Forge list topics. Cool. All right. So this doesn't tell me about pulls. So Forge pulls. How do you list pull requests? Okay, cool. All right, so there's a lot of pull requests, but these are probably the ones that are closed also. So can I see ones that are not closed? I don't know how out of date my Forge version is here. Forge list. Maybe there's a Nope. Forge, pull. Yeah, we may just skip this because list owned pull requests, list assigned, authored. Because, I mean, it's nice to have this list, but if it's not going to tell me which ones are still open, then we're going to have problems. So let me just open this one to see what it looks like. Can I see the changes? Okay, never mind. Let's just use the GitHub UI. Forge pull, thanks, Osmane. Okay, so the first one we were looking at is the org and files management modules. So I guess the question I have for myself here is, if there's PRs that I'm willing to pull in, should I change them if there are things that I want to change? Like in this PR in particular, there's these def consts here. I'm not fully crazy about the capitalization, but you know, it can be merged temporarily and then fixed in a follow-up PR. I don't know exactly what the def const like coding guidelines are in Emacs Lisp. Yeah, are they typically caps like this? I don't really see many all caps symbols in Emacs Lisp code. So org descriptive links, that's kind of useful. Hide markup markers, that's, you know, generally useful. Use package org appear, not bad. I mean, that's a pretty decent starting point. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that, I think. Fellow worker John says, hey, System Crafters, big fan. In Magit, you can press the at prefix to add a new section to Magit overview with Forge data. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, well, it's not really something in Greek, but it's in Greece, they call the at symbol the papaki, which is like the duck. Don't ask me why. Okay, so we could probably just go ahead and merge this and then fix it up. At FF will pull all the topics. Okay, how about this? Let's just merge it because there's nothing really offensive in here. It works well. And if you want some org tweaks, then that's going to give it to you. So I'll go ahead and merge this and make a few tweaks. Okay, so now let's just jump back to the main page. Is there anything else I missed here? Better use the default org package comes with Emacs. Org package. Oh, were you doing like oh, straight use package org? Yeah, I agree. It's probably better to use the one that comes in box, but that's okay. I'll fix that whenever I pull it. And org bullets. Yeah, we could probably add org bullets. Someone can do that as a separate PR. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just merge this in, and then we'll change the stuff. Fellow worker John says, I use the Forge and code review packages a lot in my day-to-day. I've heard good things about code review. I haven't tried it yet, so that may be something I look into. All right, so now that I've merged that one, let me go into the code here and pull what I merged. I'm probably behind on a couple things anyway. Uh-oh. Stream is blipping out a little bit. Let me know if you have trouble with the buffering or anything. So we're here in Rational Emacs. There's now a excuse me, Rational org module. We're going to take this straight use package out. And then we don't have the header descriptions as the rest of the file, so I'm going to change that. Here we go. Let's just drop this in. The one that comes with Emacs might be out of date, so the straight pull might be useful. Yeah, I know. It's kind of like a, you know, here's what I'll do. I'll take it out, and then we can file an issue to talk about whether we want to put it back in. And it could be that there's a setting that you could change to say, give me the latest org. It would kind of be nice to have something out of the box that works with the sort of out of the box org mode. Provides basic configuration for org mode. And then code, font, mode line. Yeah, let's just leave it like this. I think that's good. They're all in like that. Okay, fine. So then also, let me try it out. So we'll go into Rational Emacs. We can require Rational org. Cloning org appear. It seems to work fine. Oh, it's cloning org. So org appear is pulling an org anyway. That's not what I would expect. But I guess if org appear says that it has org as a dependency, you know, maybe org appear should not express a dependency on org and just use like fbound p, etc. to check to see if org is there, because this is not necessarily an ideal thing to have happen. Thanks, Piotr. Oh, it's taking forever to clone org, and it's hanging everything. Okay. Org mo. Cool. Are you finished yet, or are you just gonna sit there cloning forever? I hope it doesn't time out. So while we're waiting on that to finish, let's go and look at the next PR. Use alias instead of fset. Another from Jeff here. Really difficult to revert in the event the user wishes to use longer answers, i.e. yes, no, for confirm, negate prompts. This patch uses advice and includes logic to making use of use short answers when it's available. So, let's see, this is 43. John posted the issue. Where did we end up in this conversation? Oh, we're talking about assemblers here. I like that. Let's see, compilation errors. So, pardon my ignorance. I don't actually know what fset does. Okay, this is finally completed. Let me open up readme. What do I have here? There's a test.org. Was there not a... Oh, let's go to projects code, Rational Emacs, readme.org. Man, it really takes a long time to load up an org file, doesn't it? Is there a link I can click on somewhere here? Because I know that it has the link clicky thing. Cool. No, do not do that. Okay, so it seems to be working, which is great. And org appear is also... Is it working? I think that's interesting. It's org appear mode. Huh. Let's go back. Is it in this tab? Ah, okay. So it's a hook, but it did not seem interesting. Well, it probably does work. Fset set assigns a function to a symbol. Interesting. Strange2x says, I like your videos and Emacs. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Etalomachelonable says, thanks to your LSP series, I'm slowly ditching IntelliJ. Do you plan to make a video about LSP Java? Oh, by the way, my name is Italo. Okay, sorry about that, Italo. So, I need to get to those ISP videos, or LSP videos at some point. Jeez. First byte compile it, okay. All right, so we're good with this. I think that we're okay to maybe push this as an improvement. So don't install org from using straight yet. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and push that change. So now we have that basic org file started, which is good. So I think we're probably good on this, right? Let me just double check what the code was in this PR. Really difficult to revert in the event user wishes to no longer use longer answers. So we were using fset before, but now we use if bound p use short answers, set q use short answers t. Otherwise, advice add yes or no p override. Yeah. Still not sure if I like Y or N versus yes or no. I tend to like yes or no, but I'll defer to the wisdom of the crowd on that one. So let's go ahead and just merge this one in. Okay. Highlight current line in prog mode by JIP loading. Italicizing comments. Yeah, that should be something that's done by the face. Yes, I agree with John and Jafer here that anything that's sort of visual customization should probably be done in a theme. Maybe highlighting becomes its own feature. Let me check this out. Hey, Fade. Highlight current mode. Okay, so I think that the one part was taken out. Add hook, prog line hook, HL line mode. So are we good on that? Let's see. We got some thumbs ups here. Okay. Some consensus. HL line mode, then replace the native beacon mode that I added. So Jafer did add something for this. Let me check this out. Visual pulse when changing focus like beacon but built in. Okay, so there's like a line pulsing thing. Let me check that. What is it doing right now? So if I were to split the window, yeah, I don't see any pulsing here. Shouldn't this HL line mode then replace the native beacon mode that I added at some point? Highlighting becomes its own feature. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, having the current line highlighted is not a bad thing. I wonder if there's like a good way to do votes on GitHub issues. All right, how about this? Do we want the line highlighting feature added? Use the reaction. Let's see. Let me go click on the little smiley face here. Yeah, it has thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, so let me just comment there. And if you're interested in seeing this happen, then go vote on that issue, and we'll go back and look at it later. That is PR number 65 on the Rational Emacs repo. And let's see. Rational XI is tracking the cursor, and that'll be pretty funny. Okay, so github.com/systemcrafters/rational-emacs. I just posted the link in the chat in case anybody wants to click to go there. Jeff says, pulse happens when you try to scroll past top or bottom. That's useful. Okay, so now starting configuration for project management by Alejandro. Let's get rid of some of these things here. There's nothing to point to the project list file variable to a file in rational config path because default is look up user Emacs directory, which I believe is not quite right. Maybe some configurations could be added there. Let's see. Rational project. Let user projects expand file name projects rational config path. Project list file. I don't even know about that one. What is that? Project list file. File in which to store the list of projects. Known projects. Let's check this out. See what it looks like in my case. It's empty. This for project.el? Yeah. Then why is it not populated? Because I do have known oh, I'm sorry. Because the actual value of the variable is staring me in the face and I didn't go to the right one. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Cool. So that's for that file. User projects, expand file name projects, rational config path. Okay, so this basically just sets that file to be inside of the rational config path folder. All right, let me think about that for a second. So we have a subfolder path in the config. Let's go into init. Let's see, where is it at? I think that Jeff had added something for that. Oh, I need to fix those too. I need to make these lowercase. Potentially. I mean, I guess it's not terrible. If anybody has a strong feeling about this being uppercase or lowercase, let me know. What was it in? Modules slash... And I'm losing my train of thought magically all of a sudden. Okay, so I think it's in modules slash rational core. Do we have a module coming for that? I don't know if we have it yet. Rational defaults. I think somewhere we're doing something like no littering slightly. If I go look in my own rational config folder, if I go to config, come on, config slash rational Emacs. Yeah, the etc and var stuff that we've got here. Let me go back to this folder. Etc. Where's that coming from? Right there, rational configuration, etc. directory. So probably we should put that under one of those paths. I wonder where no littering does it. So in no littering, projects list file. Is that what it was? Project list file. Project list file. Commits. Project list what? It's in .el file. Okay, so they put it in the var path apparently. So let's see. Probably the var folder. Yep, that's right. Cool. So if we were to merge this in and tweak it a little bit, I could pull down the branch and then make a commit, but then that's a whole other ordeal. I don't really want to do that right now. So but maybe it's better, honestly, than pulling it and then have it, you know, have to make a separate commit. So how about this? We're gonna add Alejandro's branch or fork as a remote. Here's how you do that in Magit. So I'm gonna go into Magit. I'm gonna press, well, in my case, I'm gonna press capital M for remotes, press A for add, Alejandro as the name, and then, no, it was Abro CO80, right? Yeah. Come on. Come on. There we go. No. Okay, so now that branch is called what? Rational project. Cool. So we're going to switch over to rational project. Boom. And then now we can actually make commits to that branch. So let me go into module slash rational project. And then, let's see, provides default settings for project management with project.el. And here we can use the rational var, rational config var directory. Do we have functions for making that easier? That's okay. We don't really need to have that per se. So we'll go back to the other location. Instead of rational config path, we'll use the var path instead. Thank you, Ashraz, for writing that out. Okay, so when file exists p user projects set q user project list file user projects. Well, you know, I wonder if this is the right approach because you want it to get created if it doesn't exist already. So in this case, it won't. It's going to create it in some default location first, and then it's going to end up in the wrong place. So maybe we should just set it directly and not try to guard it. So set q project list file. Then delete that. So, whoops, that's not right. Okay, so I think we're good here, right? Project list file. I don't want to set this in my own config. I probably should be doing this editing inside of the Rational Emacs config. Starting configuration for project management. Okay, cool. Let me take this and jump over to this config and eval it. So we'll just eval directly in. Cool, and we'll take a look at, I wonder if we should even say projects.el too, because what's the default for that? Okay, so it's just projects. In my config, that's what it is. Okay, so projects, I mean, it's the name that they use. Ashra says, is rational config var directory already defined at this point? I believe so, but let's double check. That's a good question. So this is before the user config file gets loaded. So I think it's fine. Okay. So now in Rational Emacs, let's use Control X PP. Just choose a project. And we're going to go into projects code Rational Emacs. And we can just run an eShell for that. Okay. Now I wonder if it's saved that file already. Let me go look into .config Rational Emacs var. No, it's not saved. I wonder if I exit Emacs if it saves it. For some reason, my config does not load my config file by default. Whoops. All right. Config Rational Emacs config.el eval buffer. Okay. Oh, now we're pulling updated packages because I did not have them set up already, apparently. Customize set variable instead of set queue. Thank you. Let's go change that really quickly. Yep. Let's go back here. Still building. Great. That's how I want to spend my time right now. Cool. So, let's once again. So, okay, this is coming from somewhere. So if I go to var / yeah, it's not there, is it? The native compiler is not fast. You might be right about that. I'm not sure. GRTCDR says that there's a typo in Rational Emacs init.el at line 54. Let's see. Init.el. Whoops. What just happened? Oh, this is what happened. Come on now. Jeez. 54. Where's the typo? Unless I change the line. Rational config, etc. directory. Let me change that to a capital W though. Okay, so Tomas says you shouldn't depend on such implicit ordering and letting the project stop code though. Can you do require of no littering from the project one? Well, we're not using no littering. We're sort of re-implementing that. Ah, thank you. I see that now. Thanks. Okay. So, I'm trying to figure out why that didn't work. So the default path for project list file. Oh, it didn't even get set because I didn't pull the thing in. Require, no kidding. Rational project. Okay, wrong argument type symbol P. Then you go into that file and fix it because I think I did not make it a symbol. That's one thing that's a little bit annoying about, jeez. Okay, so I think I might have to stop using tabs here because this is making it kind of a headache. Or just don't be an idiot and edit this the right way. Projects, code, Rational Emacs, modules, project. Go set this to a symbol. Run it. Okay, let's restart. I need to check one thing because something's not right about It's not loading my configuration file correctly. So if I go, let's see, where is it? Rational config file. So that's not the right path. That would explain it. Why is it picking this path? Did I do that? Rational config path. Okay. Rational config path. That's being set, I think, in early init. Yeah, early init. So, I wonder if it's because I'm using Emacs. Future P Emacs, if get env, expand file name, Rational Emacs user Emacs directory. That sort of makes sense. I mean, it makes sense why I'm getting the value that I'm getting, but I would expect this to still try to pick from the home directory instead of the user Emacs directory. I wonder if this was set on purpose to avoid some problem. So, Jeff, do you know why for Emacs we're looking inside of the user Emacs directory, which is probably going to be set to the directory of the configuration when running with Emacs? Because I think in this case it's putting it to my project folder, but I'd rather it just be my home folder. I can obviously set that with Rational Emacs home environment variable, but I'd rather just like automatically pick it up correctly when I'm using Emacs. Yeah. User Emacs directory is set in Emacs. Now, did I do that wrong? Did I put that in my profiles? .emacs profiles.el. Yes. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because it's not really what you would expect. I think you would expect it to look in your home folder. So if I were to put this here, this would make my config work again, I think. So let me exit and then run it again. Okay, it didn't work. Interesting. init.el. Can't even read anything. Let's go to .config. Just to get it back up and running again. Okay, there we go. Early. Home. So, config path. Oh, wow. I did the wrong thing. It needs to basically follow these same conventions. File like this P. Yeah. Interesting. Can't know what the user wants, so I assume they want things loaded from wherever they have told Emacs in the profile. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to make that assumption, though, I think, in this case, because when you clone a configuration somewhere, I don't know that you necessarily want your personal config files to be tried to load from there as well. Hi, Martin. You might define a rational home envar. Yeah, that might have to be the case. But for every other config, I don't think we... I don't really need that for Doom or other configurations, I think. This is something that is specific to this implementation. If I were to change that, xdg config home, file like this p, get env home. Okay. So, I mean, I can just use this, right? Let's just do this for now to get myself unblocked. Go back into Emacs profiles, and then... Come on. Let's do it. What is the syntax for this? Emacs 2. Probably in the Rational Emacs repo. There's something for this. Where is it? Rational Emacs home. Right there. I knew that Jeff had added something for that. Okay. So it's going to be something in here. Probably that. Okay, so let's just go right there. Drop that in. That's good. So now we're going to drop this to .config / rational Emacs. Okay. So now if I close this out and then run it again, I just need to make sure this is going to load correctly. Oh, geez. Okay, so it's still not working. Tomas says, it doesn't seem right that you're hardwiring some config which is specific to one of your profiles only into the early init.el. Well, what I'm trying to do is avoid that. I'm trying to make it pick the right thing by default. Jeez. Config, rational Emacs, config.el. All right, so let's eval buffer on that. Did I mess up the A list? Because it's wrapped in its own A list? Yeah, it has that, right? Yeah, I think it's good. Anyway, whatever. We'll keep moving. So what were we working on before that? We were working on the project module, right? Projects code, rational modules project. Did we ever determine whether this is working correctly now? I think that it's not where I expected it to be. And that's what the problem became. Yeah, that's even worse, honestly, because I screwed it up. Let's go to early init. And then undo the change that I did here. Is Magit available? Yeah, I think it's because it's getting picked up from my own config. Let's go down to early init and revert that change. Because that's not right. Okay. Back out. Go at it again. Start a new instance before closing the working instance so you can iterate faster. That's probably a good idea. It would be great if it just worked the way it's supposed to. Config / rational Emacs, config.el. Yeah, I know. This is really annoying to watch. Okay, so let's try loading a project. Actually, no. Project list file. Project's code. I think it is actually saving it correctly there. So that sort of proves that it's working. It's not. Original value. Did it save it there, actually? Yes, okay. So it will save it in the right place whenever that happens to be configured correctly, I think. Cool, so let's jump back here. Go into rational project. And then revert the buffer just in case. Okay. So, I think this is okay now, right? And then in the project file, we are going to what do you call it? Project list file, right? Push that there. Cool. And then I think now I can just go back to the PR and merge it. Okay. So I was able to push to Alejandro's branch because whenever people create pull request on your repository, a maintainer has the ability to push changes to the branch that the person sent the PR from. Which is kind of nice if you want to do little fix-ups like that and not have to bug someone to do it for you. Okay, so what else? Fix the default skeleton for modules. Let's see, the default skeleton is generating commentary instead of commentary. I think John may have fixed it somewhere else. Okay. Create Rational Emacs module for initialization. So let's take a look at what's in here, because this may be useful. Will conflict with other unmerged PRs. Okay. Yeah, Ashraz says, only if you allow the change by collaborators. Gunn says, wasn't it projects.el before? No, it was just regular projects. Projects.el was in no littering. So there may be some conflicts here, but that's okay. Updated skeleton. Okay, so there seems to be conflicts, but I'll go fix that myself. So some of these things are going to get loaded from a different file, I think, right? Recent fsave file. Let's see, config var directory. Provides early init and init functions to be added to your own. Oh, okay. So interesting. Interesting. Okay. So this sort of factors out the init steps to be loaded from a different module. Yeah, so let's hold off on that one for a bit. We probably need to discuss it a little bit. So for the default skeleton, I think this is a very small PR. All right, so I think maybe we will just merge this one first because it should be simpler. Oh yeah, guys, it's very, very simple. Looks good to me. Let's merge that. No changes needed, I think. Profile and project are a wee bit different. Yeah. Okay, so next PR. Let's see. Update Rational UI font, default font with set, fixing default. Is this okay? Can now be custom set before or after the Rational UI module is required. The added function Rational UI set default font used as set. Got some thumbs ups here. Okay. So set face attribute. Custom set variables, Rational UI default font. Okay, yeah, that actually does make sense. Instead of just calling it directly, we can set the variable through the customization system. Set the default font based on spec. Spec is expected to be a plist with the same key names as set face attribute. Okay, that's nice. Nice. So basically causes it to be updated anytime you set the variable using the right syntax here. Yeah, that's fine. We can go with that. Module for auto-compiling Emacs Lisp code. Interesting to see this one. Okay, so John approved it. So Rational Auto-compile EL defines variables, modules, and hooks to enable automatic compilation of Emacs Lisp source files. This could be activated for the modules subdirectory or all files with mode Emacs Lisp mode after saving the file. Also chooses to compile to bytecode or native code depending on the features available. So when non-nil auto-compile Emacs Lisp sources for the modules on startup. So what does this do? Auto-compile modules. Wait, did I type that wrong? EL modules. Config dears list, flatten list. Auto-compile EL directory. So I wonder if it makes sense to do this sort of by default for configuration files to have this built in. I've never actually had automatic bytecode compilation of my Emacs Lisp files in my configuration by default, but it might be interesting to have that here. So Emacs startup hook, we are doing that, which is good. And I guess you could do kill hook also instead of that. Yeah, not default, but as a user's option. I see. Auto compile el init. EL file. Okay, so you're just doing specifically, and then the init files list. Early init and init.el. Okay. Yeah, doing it on a startup, I guess, makes sense. Just because you can't control when Emacs exits sometimes. Yeah, I wonder about the -el in here. I think it's just triggering my aesthetics. Honestly, I don't think it needs EL because at least for these variables, it's kind of implied. I would even probably call this rational auto-compile, but I guess that becomes vague. I'll have to think about that one for a bit. I think it's a good change. I just need to think about the implications for a bit. Let's see, this one by Hey Geldo, add, delete section, and subword mode. I think having selected text be overwritten is expected behavior for most people. Being able to meta F and meta B through camel case words also seems like a reasonable default. Yeah, that part I'm not so sure about. Yeah. Alejandro says, I didn't want to make people think that it was general auto-compilation for any code. Yep, I understand. That's why I think the module name maybe need to be different. So let me just take a look at this change really quick. I mean, I like delete selection mode for sure. I'm not as certain about global subword mode. And this is where we get into the territory of what is something you should add to the configuration by default, or you should just let the user know it exists, because I forget that global subword mode exists. Let's see. Global subword mode. I don't know. Is it already on here? Subword mode. No. Set explicitly. Yeah, what is rational in this case? Ashraz says, or what is sensible? I keep wondering if I should rename this thing to Sensible Emacs to not be so inflammatory. Okay, so yeah, I like delete selection mode, but I'm not certain about global subword mode. And I'm not sure what it's supposed to do, because it seems like metaf in Emacs list buffers already does sort of like a subword thing, because it's jumping forward by word. But maybe like if it's a camel case thing, like let's say this is not proper Emacs Lisp, then I use metaf. Yeah, okay, so it just jumps all the way to the end of the word. However, if you turn on subword mode, then metaf jumps just by what it assumes to be a word, which I guess is kind of nice if you use languages that use camel casing or Pascal casing. Probably should have included that in the video I did a couple weeks ago. I didn't know about it. There's some variables associated with that too. Subword, oh no, functions. Subword mode, no, subword mark. Forward, backward, down, case, transpose. Okay, so you can do subword actions, which is kind of nice. Sensitive Emacs. Oh boy. Okay. So, delete selection mode. Let's check that out real quick. Delete selection mode. So if I mark some text here, not gonna work because let's do this. Whoops. Let's go to Emacs state and then select some text. Am I not in Emacs state? What is happening? Turn off evil mode. Can I just make this do something? Oh, it's Lispy. Maybe Lispy's doing it. Okay, let's go into a different buffer. How about this? So if I were to go to Emacs state. Oh, come on. Wow. Wasn't my greatest idea. Org support shift select. Control space. No. Shift click. No. Okay, so whatever, man. Let's move on. So I like the possibility of delete selection mode. What is Alejandro saying yes to? Control G, Control G, Control G. Yes. I'm in a mess right now, obviously. What about the good old scratch buffer? Anything in here? So if I press a letter, what is it doing? Reference to free variable. Yo, this must be Lispy again. Fundamental mode. Fundamental mode, please. Can we just like have normal key behavior? Yeah, see, that's what I would expect to happen. And then what was it called? Delete selection mode. We select some text and press a letter. Okay, so it just like adds the text in. That's the thing. People coming from other editors probably would expect that, but people who've been using Emacs for a long time without this, I don't know what they would think if all of a sudden the behavior was different. So maybe we could try it out and see what happens. But the global subword mode, I think I wouldn't turn that on by default because it's sort of a thing. Maybe we put that, well, okay, here we go to the next part of the sort of philosophy. Do you put this behind a setting? I don't know. I'm not sure, because it's better if the user would just use the mode directly, because it's better than a setting, because you just run this function and everything turns on. If you have a setting, now you're making your own layer of configuration on top of something that already exists, and I don't know if I want that. So, yeah, I think there may need to be like a document that is included with Rational Emacs that has things like global subword mode as a possibility that people could turn on if they want to, and also configuration snippets that people could take instead of having options. Because one of the points of this thing is there should be a good set of defaults that you can build on, but you're still writing your own configuration. You're not just letting this config take over everything. Ashra says, I have an idea for evil, not the package. In evil config, whenever you hit a key sequence that's not bound, a random S expression within your configurations gets modified or deleted. Yeah, we'll have to put that in Emacs from hell. Alejandro says, how sane can we be since we're using Emacs? Many will differ. Yeah, I don't think we're very sane. I think that we're all kind of, we've lost it. You know, COVID kind of drove us all crazy. Now we're all using Emacs because of COVID, right? I guess I can't say this for all of us who have been using Emacs since before then, but whatever. But I think that should be like on the Emacs homepage, you know. Thank you, COVID, for, you know, making people want to use Emacs. What? Sorry, I just got a meeting invite that I did not expect. All right. So let's get back to it. We got a little bit of time left here. So let me check on, so here we go. I'm just gonna write a reply to this. I'm just gonna say to take out the, leave out global subword mode, and suggest it perhaps in a documentation file for this project. Yeah, let's just leave that part out. Okay, just gonna leave that comment there. Minas Mazer says, if you want to build an Emacs distro, don't be scared to take those kinds of decisions. Well, yeah. It's not so much supposed to be I guess it sort of is a distro to some degree, but it's more like a, you know, configuration basis. John says, I think we need to define what Rational Emacs is. Is it just a configuration, just defaults, or modules you can use to apply configuration? How much can you configure the configuration? Yeah. We should have a better discussion about that, I think. Ashra says, truth be told, some coworkers today asked me about Emacs since they are no longer amused by their current editor, which shall not be named. No editor bashing here. Yeah, I agree. No editor bashing. But, yeah, you know. It's always good to try Emacs if you want something a little bit more interesting. Alejandro says, I see Rational Emacs as a general framework. Well, you know, this is definitely a discussion we can have about what it is. Hi, Ramus. Okay, so delete selection. Yeah, we saw that one. Add Rational Emacs / Okay, yeah. Emacs users without environment variable, Rational Emacs folder is assumed by the profile. It should be ignored by get. Well, since that's the way it works right now, I would say yes, that's true. So let me just go ahead and merge that one. And next PR would be macOS transparent title bar. I How does that work? Check the system type and load ns-auto-titlebar.el to make Emacs look more native on current macOS versions. Is that like a feature of Emacs? Does it work when not in GUI? Throws an error. Let's see what the code actually has in it. All right, so make the title bar on macOS transparent. Prog in. Prog in's unnecessary. Straight use package. Ooh, no. I don't know if we want to go that far. What is NS auto title bar anyway? Emacs NS auto title bar. I mean, is this something that has a lot of code in it, or is it just like, 2 or 3 lines of Emacs Lisp that could just be snagged? Steve Purcell wrote this, which is cool. Safe to omit the win condition. Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're always on macOS. Maybe it does it internally anyway. Frame parameter, frame, background mode, modify frame parameters, NS transparent title bar. Okay, so basically it's something that's an Emacs setting that this package is just wrapping up in a way that's easier to use. So I would say if we're gonna do this, maybe we should just pull in the actual part of it that does the work. Set all frames. If you just set the default frame parameters to have this in it, shouldn't that just do it? Maybe I'm not following. All right. I'll think about that one. Nicer for users on macOS, though. I wonder if we can avoid pulling in a separate package for this. Could we just add the real setting to the frame default parameters? And I'll just grab a little link to this. Oops. All right, so right there. Okay. Let me refresh this. Use package.el to install use package. Okay. Seemed odd to straight install use package when the rest of this module is about using package.el. Update priorities to pull blah, 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 blah. Also did not activate packages when calling package initialize. Okay, hold on. Let me check this out. It's in use package. Customize set variable. Okay, cool. Haven't seen this before. Don't automatically activate all installed packages. Allow use package to do so when the user provides. So wouldn't this package install P, package install use package? Okay. Yeah. That's the thing, though. Hey, Mark. Mark says, I would like to see some of these personal options discoverable based on an activity you're trying to perform, like bring up an org file that explains options helpful for programming versus writing modes. That's a good idea. So, my thought process here for using straight use package is that provided that we eventually split out the individual configuration modules as separate repositories, which sounds a little bit crazy, using straight to lock the packages to make sure a specific set of package versions gets pulled in would be helpful for stability, but I don't even know if we'll get to that point because it does introduce a lot of extra complexity. So I was just basically installing all packages with straight to start with. Now, if you're using use package, I guess the assumption is that you'd probably pull things from package.el, but since the configuration is already pulling things from straight, I don't know if we're going to have conflicts or problems with things being pulled from two sources. So I wonder if it's better to just stick with straight so that we don't have conflicts. Now, we probably should, if we stick with straight, we probably should turn on the straight ensuring by default, or yeah, I don't know. Using ensure T with use package pulls from package.el, and you have to use straight T to install from straight with use package. So that's kind of an inconsistency in the config. John says, question becomes, do we expect user to use straight as well? Ideally, yes. Now, I mean, we could change our mind completely and just use package.el and not use straight. That would sort of fall more in line with the project principles because package.el is already installed. So if people wanted to switch back to package.el and use straight as an optional thing, that's fine. But then if we wanted to support both package.el and straight for installing all packages, then we would have to have some function on top of like some custom package installation function. I don't know that we want to do that. So I'm not sure. We need to have a discussion about that. So maybe we can have an issue to discuss. So I filed an issue for that. That is number 94. John says, or do we only expect that Rational Emacs is using straight? Well, the problem is that I don't know if we're going to end up with duplicate packages for certain things. If package.el, if it will it find that there's already a package installed from straight? Because it just uses like, you know, package installed or something like that, package P. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. To see if it's installed already, and if it's not installed, install it with package.el. I think that we're going to end up with some confusion about where packages live, and that's the thing that I'm concerned about. Tomas says, let's consider supporting both out of scope for Rational Emacs. I would say yes. We need to pick one. Yeah, I don't want someone to get into a bad situation where their config is all screwed up. Okay, so what was that issue that I just filed? I said what the number was, and then I completely blanked out. I need to add it to this issue as a link. Sorry, this PR. Okay. Configure custom file location in Rational config path. How are we doing here? Yeah, okay, we're making progress. This will cause Emacs to write the custom set variables code to the Rational config. Okay, yeah. Config file also need to be loaded with load command. It does need to be loaded for sure, because that file does not get loaded by default. So when you set this, Emacs will not load it for you. You have to do it yourself. So in my config, I have it set to load. Hi JP, thanks a lot for the 2 real in super chat. I wish I rewrite all Emacs lists to closure. I don't think that's a good idea, personally. And the reason why I don't think it's a good idea is because Emacs list is pretty good as it is for a configuration language. If you want closure, then probably be good to have a closure-based editor, which I think there are a couple. You will one day. Okay, I understand. Okay, so we do need to add that load to this. I could try to do it myself, or Jeff could do it probably faster than I can at this point. so I'll just leave that comment there. Okay, so Anders sent one for using Emacs init time, which is a good idea, honestly. Instead of using this sort of format function that I was using in the past. Some old stuff. I don't know where I picked that up from. So this one, I'll just merge it because it's good. Merge pull request. Boom. And load theme, instead of setting default foreground background color, this is something we've been having an issue with. In general, like that sort of initial background color setting. Tomas says, Mogenslund/Liquid is a good example of a closure-based editor. That's cool. Haven't heard of those. So this is an early init. Loading deeper blue very, very early in the init. I don't know what that's going to do. Jeff says it works fine running as a daemon. I guess the only thing to do is to try it out, huh? So what if I just do this? Should we take that out then of the init.el file? So let's go into Rational Emacs here. Go to early init. Jump down to, where was that? It's after the push settings. I'm going to drop that there. We're also going to delete these two lines. Let's go into init.el and delete the deeper. Okay, it's not in here, is it? Okay. And then in my own config.el, let's take this load theme out just to see what happens. And then we'll load it again. Okay, so that did, set the theme pretty early, which avoids the color flash like I was concerned about. So maybe that's fine. We can just start with that. Okay. So we can go ahead and just merge this one. We looked at that one already. Let me check. Did we? Whoops. Each call to, we'll set the value. Oh, okay. Huh. Well, if you find that using custom set variable causes that file to be loaded, then the question is, are there going to be other things, though? There may be other things the user has set using the customization interface that are not being set with custom set variables, so that we need to be able to load those effectively. All right. Added Corfu and Cape for code completion by Gavin Freeborn. Thank you, Gavin, for sending this. So there was some feedback. Excuse me. Defaults using Flex now as the completion style. Yeah, maybe. Rational code completion. Set up completion packages. Code completion is done with Corfu rather than traditional company to better utilize native completion features provided by Emacs. Corfu, Cape, orderless. Corfu quit at boundary, pre-select first. Don't overwrite the inner key. Interesting. Set up orderless for better fuzzy matching. I mean, orderless is pretty good for this, and we have orderless set up. This just requires it, doesn't try to, okay, it tries to install it. But the thing is, in theory, you could use these things separately. So if there are multiple modules that depend on the same package, I don't think it hurts to have them independently try to install and use those the same package, because a person may not pull in rational completion.el. They may only pull in rational code completion.el. So it does sort of make sense to have that be duplicated. Now, this little, setting the variable for the completion styles twice could be a problem. I don't know about if we should check and see if they've been set, but I'm not exactly sure how you could verify that it hasn't been set already. See you, Gun. Okay. Complete does not overwrite to the buffer and behaves as a pure completion of point function, eShell mode hook, quit at boundary. I need to add some of this stuff in on my own config for sure, because I have problems with this. What cape config do we have? File, deabbrev, okay. Okay, I think this is the only comment that I really have. We do set that, right? We go into Rational Emacs, modules, in Rational Completion, I think we pull in orderless, yeah. So is it the same settings? Orderless. Orderless, yeah, it is the same settings. I think as long as we end up with the same defaults for orderless here and in rational completion.el, then it should be okay. There might be a problem if they're different and the user loads both packages, loads both modules. The most recently loaded modules config will win. But overall, though, I think this is a great addition. Okay, so let's take a look at rational mode line. We also have rational defaults for iBuffer and whitespace. That one might be easier to take a look at really quickly. Use iBuffer as the buffer list. Configure it to group by project. Interesting. I didn't know I could do that. Like 3 PRs instead. Definitely 2 distinct commits for the iBuffer project and whitespace changes. Excuse me. Oh, okay. So this is a different package. iBuffer project. So, yeah, iBuffer is a lot more complicated, and I am no expert on this. John says, regarding orderless, this is where we need common configuration share between modules. Yeah, it would be nice if we had some of these things pulled out into config modules, like base config modules. So, yeah, I don't know if I want iBuffer to be the default, but, you know, this could be interesting for people. I'm not certain about this one yet. Yeah, we'll go back to that. Is there anything else here I need to close out? Benjamin says, going by the current README and principle stated here, I'd definitely go with the built-in package.el, but I'm not a straight.el user and thus don't quite know its possible advantages. It has some advantages, but to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really make use of them myself on a regular basis. So the main advantage to straight for me is that it's very easy to pull packages from Git repositories, which package.el can't do by default. Okay, close that one, close that, close that. Did we get any votes on that one. For a slightly frowny face. Okay. So, rational mode line. Let's take a look at this one too. A lot of comments on this one. Let's take a look at what's in here. Custom vars.el. We definitely don't want to check that in. Yeah, I agree with that. It seems like an accidental commit. So I think this PR is adding the possibility to switch between different mode line packages. Oh, this definitely shouldn't be here either. I don't think I've heard of David calling himself David System Crafters Wilson. Yeah. I don't think I would go and introduce myself as that. That would be pretty funny, though. Let's see, what's in Eric's history file here. Get to see all of Eric's, you know, code files he was working on. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think this probably needs some more iterations, which is totally fine. I'm still not sure like what we should do about having multiple mode line implementations, because in my ideal world, we wouldn't even use Doom mode line. We would probably have our own simple mode line. Alejandro says, I would be Alejandro System Crasher Mauricio. Well, I'm also a System Crasher as well, so what can I say? So yeah, I would be interested in people's thoughts on mode lines. Like if we should have a more simple sort of custom mode line configuration that just fits this project, or if we should, you know, stick with Doom mode line or use some other mode line package by default. Personally, Doom mode line's nice and all, but it is pretty heavy. It's got a lot of stuff in it that isn't necessarily needed, but that's just my opinion. I still use it because it looks nice by default, and I haven't been motivated enough to make my own or to switch to something else. Okay, where are we now? Rational mode line. I think we may have gotten through. Oh wait, there's one right here I missed. Rational defaults for iBuffer and white space. We looked at that one for a moment. I'm not sure that I'd prefer iBuffer to be the default buffer switcher. But I'll think on this one for a bit. John says, I think we should avoid mode line, more of a personal choice. Maybe, yeah. I mean, just like we don't really, like, you know, set up a specific Doom theme by default, you know? But yeah, I think we need to have a discussion with the people who are interested to discuss this, what this really should, what the goal, well, to crystallize the goals, I guess, to focus in on the goals a little bit better, and to say what this should be doing. Alejandro says, I don't have keycast mode working with Doom mode line mode. Yeah, it doesn't work with Doom mode line by default. You have to do some hacks to make it work. That's always been kind of a pain. And half the time it doesn't work even with the hacks. So yeah, Doom, I think Doom probably needs to have, Doom mode line needs to have a segment for it, and it just doesn't have that right now. Or if it has been added, I haven't seen it yet. Rational persistence. Some settings related to persistence of Emacs over different sessions. Maybe this is a way to expose some settings to users that are interested in this behavior. Let's see. Yeah, a couple of stray commits, I think. Okay, yeah, it's already been reverted. Piotr says, I would really love your take on mode line. Well, I mean, I like minimalism. The default Emacs mode line is a little bit noisy and kind of old looking. So something a little bit more minimalistic. I mean, I guess you could say the default mode line is minimalistic to some degree, but come on, let's go. Load. I'm tired of having to do this. Config rational Emacs config.el. Okay, eval buffer. Come on, there we go. Man, I tell you what, that deeper blue is a pretty decent theme. So, you know, if you look at the default Emacs mode line, it has this little area down here, which, you know, is pretty compact information, but at the same time, you don't really know what it means. Some of the stuff, I mean, yeah, sure, it's line number, like this window scroll percentage. That stuff shows up in Doom mode line also. And the mode listing, I'm not a big fan of. I think it's a lot of noise. It probably is useful, but I don't really need it because I just go look at the variable for modes to see if they're turned on or not if I need to know. So yeah, I prefer to have less information there and have it be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. That's my opinion. Ashra says, if you switch to files change, you can use a green button review changes to either comment, approve the PR, or request some changes to also be shown in the reviewers section. Yep. Yeah, I use that often, but in this case, I'm not really, you know, doing it very much. But maybe Ashraz wasn't telling me that. He's probably telling other people that. So what we have here, making Emacs persist some things between sessions. Save hist, mini buffer history. Desktop restore eager. Save place mode is good, for sure. Save hist, save mini buffer history. We need save hist mode for sure. But I've not used this save hist additional variables before. I don't know if it's necessary, but we could leave it and see what happens. Desktop restore eager, restore last open buffers after closing Emacs. I mean, personally, I like to have a clean Emacs session whenever I start it up. I don't really want it to restore all the same buffers. So I'm not sure about that one. Alejandro says maybe a mode line customization video. Yeah, we're actually going to do that in the new Emacs from scratch. I just haven't gotten to it yet. A rational mode line, yeah. Yeah, basically. I think, you know, if somebody wanted to do that, I think that's going to be a more ideal change in my mind, because instead of pulling in some other package that does a whole bunch of stuff for you, if you have a mode line configuration built into Rational Emacs that's nice looking and shows basically just how to directly customize the mode line, it's going to be more instructive for someone if they come look at this configuration to get ideas for how they can configure their own stuff. So part of this is to help people learn Emacs Lisp and also Emacs configuration. So having an example of a customized mode line that is not very complicated, that, you know, let's say no more than about, you know, 100 to 200 lines of configuration or less if possible, would be nice. Ashra says, not sure about storing the kill ring. The clipboard often contains some sensitive information. I do agree with that. I would not want my kill ring to be showing up in the history files. Search ring, you know, some of these may already be in there. So let me check save hist additional variables. Okay, so evil jumps history. You don't need to add many buffer history variables to this list. That one is true by default. And search ring. Is it not a mini buffer variable? Evil. Search ring. No, it doesn't have anything in it. Okay, so what do I want to say here? It's probably better not to include the kill ring because clipboard copies might contain sensitive information. Okay, so what else we want to say here? Last keyboard macro, K macro ring. I don't even know what K macro ring is. Shell command history. Yeah, definitely that. I'm not as sure about turning this on by default. Personally, I like having a clean Emacs session by default. Anyone else have thoughts on this? Okay, add review comment. Finish your review. Comment. I'm just going to leave a comment here. Okie dokie. So I think that's everything, right? Did we look at everything today? We have something here, a new notification on this one. Tomas says, I only turn on the HL lane mode on and off in Markdown view mode and GFM view mode. Yeah. So I don't even turn it on at all, I think, in my configuration. Let's see. HL line mode. Oh, yeah, do I? In DIRED mode. Okay, that's the place where it makes sense to me. If you go into DIRED mode, you kind of like to have that extra little bit of highlight. So yeah, I don't know about default, but I'll defer to more thoughts if other people have opinions on this. It seems pretty split so far. Cool. So I think we did, pretty good job of getting through everything here. If there's anything else that I wanted to add to the configuration right now. So one thing I didn't get around to is this init.el. Projects code, Rational Emacs, init.el. These on or in, what was it? Was that in the early init file? Early init? Where did those go? There's that pulse thing, I think. Okay, when you're scrolling, it shows you where the key... That's pretty nice, actually. What configuration was that in? Modules / defaults. No? Where the hell is it? Come on. Yeah, this is a little bit annoying. Using X windows inside of tabs in EXWM is a headache, because when you switch to another tab and then all of a sudden you're going into the other window, you're just going to pull it over into your other tab, and then now you got to fight with the buffers. Init. God. Get me out of there. Okay, so on Linux. Whoops, on Linux. Is that what it was? In using, I don't remember what it was. Linux? Darwin? Did I delete that code? What happened? Okay, whatever. Maybe I merged it and didn't pull it in yet. Did I merge that PR? Oh, where am I? Let's go to master. Okay. That's probably why it didn't show up. So I should probably start this up with all the things that I merged in so that we can see what kind of mess I've created by merging PRs. So, once again, gotta go pull up my eval buffer. All right. Oh. I need to change my configuration to use the new font settings. Control X VG. Not a version control. Yeah, it is, isn't it? No. So that's a breaking change that I did not consider the possibility of. Projects, code, Rational Emacs. I know you probably can't read this right now. Was it in UI? Modules, UI? There's the font setting, set default font, def custom UI default font. But I'm not using customize set variable. Customize set variable. We're going to see if this works now, though. Wrong argument type symbol P JetBrains mono. Let me double check what I'm doing wrong there. So the default. Let's check John's PR on that. We probably need to have examples of this. Oh, there is examples in the settings. Where was it? I know I saw that. PR number 68. Let me look at that one again. Okay, you haven't read me. Great, thank you for setting that there. Oh. Yep, do it with a... Come on, where are you? This is a symbol itself, or a list. Interesting. Wrong number of arguments. Font. Whoops. Font. Nope. Weight. Height. Custom set. Customize set variable. Void function custom set variable. Variables. Okay. There we go. So that did work finally. So let me jump back out again. All right. Well, config doesn't load. Cool. So let me just double check 68 one more time. 68. Yeah, this one I'm not sure about, just because I don't know if it's going to add load time, having a separate file. Maybe it doesn't really add extra load time. But if the idea is that you can pull in Rational Emacs and then use these functions to load up the configuration as part of your own config without having to take over your own take over the entire emacs.d folder, that kind of makes sense. That way someone could just pull it into their own config without having to clone this repo the same way. So yeah, I'm still interested in more discussion on this approach, maybe some other thoughts on what the benefits are, I guess. Issue number 59, and also fix number 62. Follow Emacs guidelines, best practices. I'll have to read over some of this. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion here I should probably look at. So I'm not sure on that one yet. Okay, so yeah, I think we got some cool new stuff added and also made some progress looking at the remaining PRs. So hopefully the people who sent those will now be able to take a look at the comments. So yeah. So if you're interested in contributing to this project, please do. Please come and send pull requests. I'm going to add a couple people as maintainers, as I mentioned before, to help with reviewing PRs and possibly merging them so that we can continue to have new things coming in if you want to try to use this configuration or just mess around with it every once in a while, which is probably kind of fun. At some point I'm going to have to try and make it my main configuration and see how it goes, because that's how I will really be able to tell whether it's going to work for me or not. And put it through its paces. So we'll do that maybe on a stream some other time in the near future. I don't know if I should stream with that. That could be interesting, but we'll see. Hey, Gavin, good to see you. So I think that's it. So I'll take this moment to plug my other channel, Flux Harmonic. If you haven't seen that, youtube.com/Flux Harmonic Live, plus the same thing on twitch.tv. We've been working on a game project this week. Basically making a Mahjong clone, but it's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to, we're starting with, a more traditional Mahjong, and then we're going to go into turning it into something more a little hackerish, I guess. It's going to be kind of cool. And I've been using the language I've been working on, Mesh, to write the game. So those of you who are here who have been watching that, sorry for all the debugging of the language on the stream recently, but it's actually been getting a lot better, and I think that we're getting close to a point where we won't have to do that so often. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's weird to write a language and have it actually work to write a program. So it's pretty fulfilling for me to get to do that. That's kind of why I've been spending a lot of time thinking about that project and working on it lately, because it's sort of a personal goal of mine, I guess. Long-term personal goal to make my own programming language, or at least my own programming system, and make my own apps with that. So it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully soon the stuff that we do on the stream is going to be a lot more interesting to see. So we'll have a game that we're working on consistently, and you can play it because I'll be pushing changes, and you can download the binary and run it, that kind of thing. So it should be pretty cool. And like I said, I will get a new video out in the Emacs from Scratch series this week. I'm going to try my very best to have a normal video schedule again. I used to be very good about having a video out every week, but since I moved to Greece, it's been difficult to do that. But hopefully, if I get a house in the near future, that will also make it become easier as well. Alejandro says the debugging parties are fun. They are a lot of learning. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of learning for me too. Piotr says, all your streams are interesting to me. Well, I appreciate that. Gavin says, I have a feeling the stream is ending. What would give you that idea? I have my wrap-up voice now. So yeah, take a look at what we're doing on Flux Harmonic, and let me know what you think about the channel. If you haven't watched it so far, and you have thoughts about why you haven't watched it, let me know. I'd be interested to hear why. Not that you're supposed to watch it, just I'm just curious what people think about it, because I'm personally a little bit self-conscious about it because I feel like it might be boring. So I'm trying to get any kind of feedback I can find to help make it more interesting for people. Minas Mazar says, thanks, System Crafters. Have a nice weekend. Thank you as well. You have a nice weekend. And the rest of you have a nice weekend too. I will see you back here next week with another video and a live stream next Friday. Also, any of you who are interested to contribute to Rational Emacs, please feel free to go to the repo and send a PR, and we'll take a look at it. And until next time, thanks a lot for watching, and happy hacking. We'll see you.